Greetings and welcome back to Lucas Brews. In today's video we'll be having a little look at what's inside the box for the Revell 1/72 scale C. Vixen FAW2. I'll just remove this large panel from the box and we'll start having a look at what's inside. Interestingly, the way these model sets are done is that they've just got the standard model kit and then they've just glued an extra panel that has all of your glues and paints. So that's interesting. And then you can just open this all up and take your paints out. So I'll set that piece aside because there's nothing too important on it. And here we've obviously got 4 of the main colours. Probably not all the colours you'll need to actually do the model very detailed, but just as a basis to get started. And it's nice to know that you'll have the correct colours already with it for the colour codes. So you've got, well, Revell's German, so you've got the main text is actually in German, but you've got English. So you've got Gunship Grey, so that'll be for the main camouflage, well, the main upper surface color. You've got white, and then you've got light grey and black. So pretty self-explanatory there. And then you've got this interesting double-headed brush. I'm not sure how well, these are very hard thistles, they're not really separating, so I don't know how useful this brush will actually be. Yeah, so I'd recommend you use some better brushes if you can. The Tamiya ones are pretty good. And then you've just got a really, really cute Revell Contactor Professional bottle, absolutely tiny. So I would say that'll last you a little while. Definitely enough to finish the model kit, maybe do a couple others. Alright, now let's get into the good bits. So, on the front we've got a nice picture of the 2 Sea Vixens flying together over the ocean. No real action, no classic kind of stuff, but that's still very nice. You see the very attractive kind of lines of the Sea Vixen, and it's a unique way of being built with the twin fins there and the crew sitting in that configuration, so that's nice. And you got the armament that's included in the kit on the box, and then a few details about the size and the parts and the level of complexity. So this is actually a level 4, which in Revell's books means it's actually quite a tricky little kit, and that's understandable. I've just had a little look before I got this, and it looks like it's got some nice details but a few fiddly parts. So on the side there, you've just got the repeat of the box art and all those details. Same on both ends there, and then on the back we've got a few detailed shots of the prototype and a few shots of the sprue, and then all the colours you'll need to do it in a more professional manner. If you're like me and you sometimes go a little bit outside of this range even, there'll be a few more. And then you've just got the usual warnings and details, no kind of blurb on the aircraft, which is I think that's always good to have, especially if it's something a bit unfamiliar like this one, but oh well, that'll be on the inside probably. So, now let's open this one up. And let's have a look. So, we'll slide this one out. So, we'll have a little look at the instructions. So, we've got a nice little piece of artwork on the front showing the finished model. Usually it's one of their prototypes, so it can vary a little bit. That's all good. So I've got some little guides on how to do it all, just the basic sort of stuff. So that's good if you're new to all of this. And you've got all of these very nice clear keys as to what everything means in these instructions. Decals nicely preserved in there, we'll have a little look at those later. We've got painting guides, so it's a little bit of a pain that they've got some that you have to mix together, but otherwise it's quite nicely laid out. So got a nice little sprue map here, and it's also nice that this is all in a book format because that means you take up less space rather than having to fold it all out open. As you can see, all the steps are very slow, so it's easy to follow what's going on, and it's all very nicely detailed and laid out in terms of what colors you're using and what steps are involved. As you can see, there's a fair bit going on, so it's understandable that Revell have put this as a level 4. It's a very complex little kit. Well, I say little, it's relatively little. So yeah, assemblies and stages, you've got a lot of options with this kit. Since it's a naval aircraft, you can have the wings folded up, you've got air brakes here, the usual landing gear. You've got the tail hook here that you can have up and down, all sorts of little features, which is very nice. And you've also got the cockpit here. And there's only one preset of armament, I think, in this kit, so that's to have a fuel pod, a rocket launcher, and one of the Firestreak missiles. So could have had a little bit more variety in that, but otherwise it's very good that they've actually included armament. Some people don't. So yeah, here you've got the option for the folding wings. So that's all very good, lots of choices there. And you've got two decal schemes, one with a somewhat eye-catching squadron symbol. That's kind of the main deviation, otherwise they're both in the standard Royal Navy grey. So one's got what appears to be a witch on a broom, and the other one's just got a fist. So I'll probably be doing this scheme when I get around to this aircraft, because volunteering at the Queensland Air Museum, we've got one just like this. It's 126, I believe, so I'll change a few things up and do that particular aircraft. So, instructions looking quite nice there. Let's have a little look at the sprues. So, we'll open these ones up. They all come in a nice little plastic baggie, so that's all good. So that's one large main plastic bag, and then all these other little sprues in separate plastic bags. So I don't lose all these parts, I might try and keep these in their separate bags. So we'll start off with the clear parts. So you've got the canopy in two sections, which is a nice touch. You can have that one opened. And then for the weapon system operator / engineer, you've got the clear canopy parts for that. So they all look of quite good quality, not too much distortion with those, and you can see through them quite clearly. And raised details, so it's pretty easy to then paint the corners if you're careful, and then if you use acrylic paints like I do, you can scratch off the mistakes quite easily with a bit of sprue, and you don't scratch the actual glass. So that's good. And here we've got what appears to be some parts of the landing gear, the air brake system, a little bit hidden by text. I'll turn it over to this side. And you've obviously got a fuel tank. Shouldn't have said obvious there. I'd imagine that would be either your fuel tanks or maybe more likely parts of the boom. So yeah, the on this set of sprues it looks very clean, hardly any flash. Nicely placed all of the injection pins, so they've done a good job on that one. And the details look pretty good, lots of nice little internal ribbing, so it's very fine, very good. And we'll move on to this set of sprues. So this looks like the air intakes here, and your exhausts, and then the first stage compressing fan. So that's all good. And you've got the landing gear bay, which is nice. You've even got a little bit of wiring and all that ribbing, so that's very nicely detailed. And you've got your seats here, so you've got two. And then we've got some, looks like sunken details. That's interesting. I'm used to seeing raised ones, so that's a little bit different. So you've got sunken details for the instrument panels. Nice details on the cockpit there, some sidewall stuff. That's some very fine detail. Going to be a lot of fun to paint that up. And you got some of the internal stuff for the wings where they fold. So that's very nicely done. And we'll move on to this set, which has the good bits. So you've got the main fuselage section. It's all in grey panel lines, worth pointing that out. So nice and modern. Got some nice fine details there, some rivets, and all of the panel lines look pretty good. And some of the internal ribbing and the nose, and they all look quite accurate. And you've got your twin boom fins there, and that would be your horizontal stabilizer, and then your two sets of wings. And you've got flaps, which I believe you can have the flaps deployed in this model, so you got 1,000 options with this kit, really. And ooh, you got a dragon symbol on the mold, so that's probably a bit of a dead giveaway that this is actually a rebadged dragon, but I'll have to have a little bit of a research into that one and get back to you on that during the outro. And I'll just finish up this with looking at the decals. So as you can see, two schemes, basically they're both Royal Navy, so pretty similar. You got your markings for all of the weapons and the payload loadout, sorry. And the common stencils here, your Royal Navy markings with the red as separate. And yeah, then you got your individual schemes and your cockpits details. They look really fantastic. The quality of them in terms of the level of detail and the clarity of these decals is amazing. Like, I can make out the individual dials there. These look like they're going to be an absolute pain though to put on, because I'm looking at this in the light and it looks to me like these are they're not actually like a clear film there between these red markings for the common stencils to show where you can't walk. So they're going to be very thin and I'd imagine very delicate. So you're going to have to be very careful sliding those ones off the transfer paper and onto the model. And hopefully minimizing how much you touch them, otherwise they are going to break. But otherwise, those are looking quite good. My conclusion on having a little look at this box would be it is a very good kit. There's a lot of options for how you display it, which makes it a little bit tricky when you're going to build it, but otherwise that's good to have all those options with folding wings and flaps. That's great, I think. I'm a fan of that. I've never actually used these Revell paints, so that'll be interesting. I'm not sure if I'll go with them or if I'll just use my usual Tamiya or Vallejo paints with that one, but might be worth a little muck around, and the glue's nice, top up the supply. Brush is probably useless. The quality of it's just really not that good. So it's got a pretty high parts count, and I wouldn't want people to be deceived into thinking it's a starter set, because it's definitely not. Although it has all those glues and paints, which makes it look like, yeah, it's a good one to grab if you're just beginning. The complexity of this kit means it's definitely not for beginners. Retail's a little bit expensive, $80, justifiable I suppose by the high parts count, and I would say it's pretty good what you get for your money still. I'll possibly have another opinion after I've built it, but see how it goes. I'm sure I'm going to have fun with this one. Yeah, and the Sea Vixen overall, it's a very iconic aircraft. A little bit obscure since I suppose only the British were using it, but it still stands out. Definitely in this era when everyone's experimenting with the layout of fighter aircraft, and you get some interesting stuff like this twin boom configuration. You don't see that much, or the two crew sitting across. Like that's a very unusual and very distinct feature of the Sea Vixen, whereas nowadays you have them sitting in tandem. So that's kind of before the general formula for what fighter aircraft kind of look like has come around. So yeah, definitely an interesting aircraft. I definitely recommend it. Well, thank you for having a little watch of this unboxing video. That's all for now, but if you enjoyed, please do leave a like, or if you have any questions or comments, be sure to put them down below. And a special shout out to my wonderful patrons, Archie Palmer, J&K Jones, Joan Moss, and Emo, for your financial support. I really appreciate every bit of it that you guys offer, so thank you very much for that. And this video was obviously done in conjunction with Tectonic Hobbies, the little local store on 447 Wisest Road, Maroochydore. We've got the Sea Vixens available at the moment, along with a lot of other Revell, Airfix, and Italeri products, and a few other little brands that we're bringing in. So we're hoping to expand the model kit collection a tiny bit in the future, but we pride ourselves on being able to order stuff in with our wholesalers. So if you come in and there's a model kit you want but it's not on the shelves, just come up to us and we'll order one in for you. That's it for now, and until the next video, model on.